Hello and welcome to this first session on how to prepare a great CV. Here I'm going to introduce you to the whole course module and provide you an overview of the whole process. Uh, so my name is Arun Singhal and I am a management coach and mentor with 40 years experience in talent development. I passed out of IIM Bangalore. I did my MBA 40 years back in 1981 in marketing and finance. And there I was lucky to get into Hindustan Unilever as a management trainee. And I worked there for 8 years in sales, marketing, and general management at junior positions. Then I was even luckier to get into Johnson and Johnson, and I worked there for about 16 years in again middle and senior management positions, sales, marketing, operations, and general management. And my last corporate assignment was with a company called Dumex, which is now part of Danone Nutrition, where I was the managing director based in Gurgaon. We used to have brands like Protein X and Farex. We were more known by our brands than a company name. 2007, I founded my own company called Enrichmenters with an objective to share my knowledge and skills that I had gathered over these 26 years for people like you to help you do even better than what I could ever do in my life. So that's what about me. So what are we going to do in this module? So purpose of this introduction is to provide you an overview of the process that can better help you prepare a great CV. At the end of this module, you will know first why do we need to prepare a great CV. Then we will look at what are the processes that we have today to prepare a great CV. How effective is the current process? Why do we need to consider adopting a new process? And you will get an overview of the better process for preparing a great CV. All right. So, are you ready for this ride? Okay, wonderful. So let's look at what process do we use today. So I have a question for you. What do you do today to prepare a CV, and how do you know how effective is that process? Think about it. If required, note down on a piece of paper, and let's tally your notes after a couple of seconds. All right. As I understand, most of us, what we do today is we update a last CV. We always have some CV in our files, right? Like I have a CV which I had written so many years back. And if I need to apply somewhere, if I need to, I open up that CV and update the recent experiences, and and then review and save, and then I send that out like you also would do to the recruiters, right? Alternately, if you are a student in an institute, especially a management institute, you will have an institute template and you will create that CV. You will take your current data that you have in your current CV and you will use that data to create a new CV. And then you will be fortunate to get your CV reviewed with an institute mentor. And then you will update the CV with the feedback received from the mentor, right? Now, how effective is this process? Now, this process has its own challenges. Your CV that you've created is as good as your last CV because you've just added incrementally on that CV or the institute template. I have worked with a leading institute in the country, and I was always looking at the template and saying, "Hey, does this template really look good?" And it did. It did look, but it continued and it continues even today. Second challenge that you face in terms of this process being effective is, even if you're fortunate to get a mentor review your CV, different mentors give you different suggestions. And you don't know who's right. No one tells you why convincingly. Why should you do what they're telling you? And your CV, finally what happens is you create this CV, you send out to hundreds of companies and you find that you give it CV gets shortlisted only in some cases. And you don't know why. You wonder why. Why is it that I'm not getting shortlisted in the remaining company? So that's the state of affairs of the current process. So why not consider a process that can make your CV much better than your last CV or the institute template? It should be able to create a CV that people look and say, wow, this CV looks great. Also, if you get in this process, if different mentors give you a different suggestion, You should know what is the right thing for do. You're doing, but at the same time, you should know why are you doing it and what's the right thing to do. And ultimate, the proof of the pudding is in eating, right? So your CV should start getting you shortlisted in most cases, and you know why. Why am I getting shortlisted? And that's the most important thing. Excuse me. So let's look at a process that can give a great CV. And this is a very simple process, overlaid here very clearly. You need to start with selecting a right CV format. A CV should not only be good, but it should also good, like food, right? So if you go to a restaurant and you have multiple dishes to look at, wouldn't you pick up a dish, a kind of a combination that looks good? Typically, if you go to, let's say, McDonald's and you have all the visual displays of the various things, the dish, the combination that looks good invites your attention, doesn't it? So it's a necessary that your CV should not only be good, but also should look good. So you need to select the right format. And we have follow up sessions, lectures in this whole course that will tell you how to select the right CV. And I will also show you there what should be the right CV, in my view. Then there's another important step that all of us miss. What we do is we take our CV, modify it, and we send it to everyone. Now, my suggestion is don't do that. Introduce a step called preparing a master CV. Prepare a CV of a couple of pages where you list every possible things that you have done that you could use in sending to recruiter. And this we call as a master CV, in which you have listed all your skills, capabilities, experiences, qualifications, certifications, etc., etc., etc. You don't send this to everyone. So what you do is you create the CV, keep it in the format that we have selected previous step, and then you modify the CV for each JD. See, another thing I want to tell you is that you should send your CV only against the jobs that have a JD, job description specified. If you're doing a cold calling or if you're reaching out someone without a JD, don't ever even think of sending a CV, because CV is not the right instrument, right tool there to send it. Instead of that, as you would have talked about in the another course called How to Get Interview Calls, send your value proposition there. So use your CV to send against the specific job requirements that have a given job description. So and modify your master CV to meet the requirements of the JD. And how to do that, what to do that in that, I will take you through in one of the lectures that we will follow. So that's the process that I have for you to lay down. So what did we learn in this module? What we learned is that most of us either use the last CV that we prepared and update it, or use a CV template provided by the institute, and that is for the masses, and we update it and use it. And we found that this process is not really very effective for most of us, because as your CV gets shortlisted only in some cases, and you don't know why. That's the most important thing. If I know if my CV is not getting shortlisted, the reason I can do something about it. But if I don't even know, I can't do anything. And that happens with most of us. So what we need to do is consider adopting a process that can start giving you shortlisted in many more, in fact, the most cases, and you will know why are you getting shortlisted. So that's what we are talking about. So we have a process that can help us create a great CV by using the right format, creating a master CV and modifying it for each JD. And please remember to use CV only in the cases in the applications where you are applying against a job description. Because if you are not, then you are sending a CV in a blind black hole and a blind alley, and that's no use. We know nothing comes back from black hole, right? So what do we do next? In our next module, we're going to start deep diving into each of these master formats. And before we do that in the next module, we will talk about why prepare a great CV. And then we will go into one of the modules into selecting the right CV format, right? So I hope, thank you for watching this module, this session, and I hope you have liked it. And I look forward to seeing you in the next module in a couple of whatever time you choose. So thank you so much again and look forward to seeing you.